So next up to the stage, can I welcome Megan and Bisola? And I will just give a bit of context for what you just saw. I think you're the first people to actually see that clip. Sundance and Skoll work together on a program called Stories of Change. Social entrepreneurs working together with independent storytellers, collaborating, co-creating, some might say. We received a proposal as part of the applications for our lab that we do in the mountains for a fiction film project based in Lagos called The Vagabond King of Lagos. And it was an ambitious fiction film project, and we very much wanted to support it. We brought it to the lab, and during the lab, an incredible transformation occurred. And it turned from a very nascent, exciting script for a fiction film into ultimately a co-creative process. So what you just saw there was sorry, just completely, my brain just froze then, that was rather remarkable. So what you just saw then was the evidence of what had come out of the lab. So Bisola, just tell us who you are and what you do, and then I'll get Megan to do the same, and then we will dive into what this project is.
Okay. My name is Bisola Akinmuyiwa from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm a member of Nigeria's Slum/Informal Settlement Federation, a movement of urban poor for dignity and development. I'm one of the founders of Nigeria Youth Media Team, known as Know Your City TV. Federation is the parish of Slum Dweller International.
Fantastic. Okay, Bisola, that is you, and you're a wonderfully trained community paralegal as well.
Yeah.
So, Megan, tell us what you do and how this all fits together.
Okay. So, she mentioned Slum Dwellers International. SDI is a global movement of the urban poor with chapters in 33 countries around the world. And in each affiliate country, you have a federation, a slum dweller federation that's leading the movement, and that federation has a supporting NGO, an organization that provides a lot of different professional and technical support to help the federation achieve its goals, and that's our role. So Justice and Empowerment Initiatives is a human rights organization. I'm a lawyer by training, which is why you see some legal ideas coming into it. I'm an American lawyer, but my home is Lagos. And I've been working with the urban poor in Lagos, Nigeria since 2011. And I intend to be there for the rest of my career.
Fantastic. So, Megan, you and Bisola came to the lab, along with James, who is not with us today, but he's a South African filmmaker who was a big brain behind the script and working closely with Slum Dwellers International. Okay, so when you all came to the lab, I think, what were you expecting, Bisola, when you came to the lab?
Actually, in last year, October 2017, when I went to Sundance Institute Story for Change, what I'm expecting is that you learn more about camera, how to handle camera, how to edit, how to do stuff like try to get a standard product of recording, editing, give out the best taste of filmmaking. That is what I have at the back of my mind. But to my own greatest surprise, what I made is quite different from what I'm expecting.
That's good, because we were, the lab, by the way, is a week long. And so it was clear that our role was not to help you learn how to edit, script write, act, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But what you do have access to, because you are part of the youth media team, and you were born and raised in an informal settlement.
Yeah.
This is your community,
yeah.
The story is about. So you have access to knowledge, experience, authenticity, to inform whatever the script for this fiction film is going to be.
Yeah.
And so to Kat's point about focusing on the process rather than just the product, our question to you guys was, how are you going to get to an authentic story about, set in these informal settlements in Lagos, when the brain behind it, who's a brilliant brain, is a South African from outside the community. And so what you came to was the co-creation approach, that you and your team would go out as story hunters, find the stories in the community that would then inform the bigger fiction project, but in the meantime, you can put out these pieces of media, you can be engaging the community, you can be putting them out and sharing them as part of your creative process, which was really exciting for us, more exciting than the potential of a big fiction film project, because we were going to really get to understand what the stories were emergent stories, how they were bubbling up. So I'm talking a lot because I just wanted to put that all in context. Okay. But what I really want to understand from you is what the process is. So, Megan, I'm going to come to you in a moment to ask you what the challenges and opportunities of this way of working is. But Bisola, first of all, can you just help me understand what are the principles of your work? How do you express them?
The principle of our work, don't let me use my work, of our work as a media, we work with people in a particular area. Maybe we have the mind that let's go to this also, let's tell a story about this community. Mm-hmm. We won't try to get the story from far angle. We have to go to the community, mm-hmm. ask questions from the people who are affected by what is happening, mm-hmm. so that they can give us the raw meat, the good meat, so I'll be able to feel it in the bones.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
They give you the raw and good meat so you can feel it in the bones. Yeah. I'm stealing that.
So those are
right.
Those are the part of processing. We have to go to the communities, talk to the affected people, to be able to get the good and the important mm-hmm. information.
And so what is difficult about that? What's the most difficult bit of doing that?
Actually, in any work that a human being we engages ourselves, mm-hmm. there must be a part of difficulties and a part that you enjoyed. Whenever we went to, let me use field, to talk to the community people, we do face challenges of language.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there are presumably multiple languages spoken in Lagos.
More than 36 languages in Lagos.
More than 36 languages in Lagos alone? Wow. Yeah.
So each time we are trying to go out to take some short clip in community, we have to iron out the kind of people we are going to meet, the kind of media person who can imagine in the area of a presenter. How are we going to iron this when we get this, when we meet the person who is speaking this so language? Mm-hmm. How are we going to handle it? Who will be our presenter? Who can bring it down to their own level? Mm-hmm. So those are the things that we do work with. Mm. And for some of us who doesn't understand what they are speaking, the kind of language they are speaking, it's going to be a long processing for the presenter to ask questions and to translate back to us. So it takes much time.
So, I mean, I'm aware that we're doing this to you right now. We are, in a sense, you would be more comfortable speaking your first language.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I I have no idea what you're about to say, so don't make it rude. But can I just hear what you sound like speaking your language?
Yeah. Yeah. The truth of the matter is that when you are...
Wait, that's my language. You speak, I want to hear you speak. Wait, what is your language?
I know. I will still say something in Yoruba.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So don't be in ace. The truth of the matter is that you feel more comfortable when they ask you to speak in your language. Yeah. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak my language. And kilode, kimi sele, otipa emutiri but ino mi dun pe mo wa ri ele ni and uderewa.
I hope that wasn't rude because it was so lovely. What did it mean?
Okay. And what I mean is that, I saw you last year in Sundance. And seeing you again with a smiley, shiny, sexy face. It's amazing. So that is what I mean in my languages.
I think you should always speak your own language, Bisola.
You can see.
No, that was wonderful. And there is a serious point behind this, which is working with communities, being in communities. You can miss such a lot if you don't allow people to express themselves in their own way and in their language. So, firstly, thank you for coming in and doing this in English with us. It means a great deal.
Yeah.
And I'll come back to you shortly,
Okay.
Bisola. But so, Megan, as part of this co-creative team, how do you see your role, first of all?
So I would say, technically speaking, we were coming in as kind of a co-producer. Our own background is not media making itself, but the social entrepreneur, activist side of things. We had an idea of the change that we hoped that this film would be part of creating. And then once the film itself evolved, and we're now talking about an entire process with multimedia clips that can be used in social media, we know what the impact that we want to have. So that is the role that I originally thought we'd be having. But I think that the truth is that my role can be diverse, and our role as a supporting NGO can be diverse. And I want to talk a bit about this idea of insider-outsider, which I know we've talked about before in thinking. I have a really interesting opportunity to be both an outsider. I think it's obvious I'm an outsider. I'm not Nigerian. I'm not African. And I have that outsider perspective and the challenges that come along with that. And I'm also, in another way, I'm an insider in that I've been living in Lagos, working with these communities very, very closely for now 7 years. And so relative to someone who just came last week, I'm an insider. So, and it gives me an opportunity to actually play a role of, which I think is really important in the co-creative process, of kind of intermediation.
Like a translator.
Like a translator, exactly, but on so many different levels. And to do that in a way that's as respectful as possible to everyone's knowledge and background. And I want to go to another example. So, because of how I look, every day, it's my 7th year in Nigeria, every day is my first day in Nigeria to someone who just meets me. And so every day I get into public transportation and someone says, Oyibo, which means white person, where are you going? Can I help you get there? So it's every day is my first day, and you just have to kind of flow with that, right? But it gets to an extent where when I go into the communities that we work with, people have so little exposure to whether we want to say Western or people coming from outside of Nigeria, that I'm actually mistaken or perceived as being Chinese. And I believe most of the people in the room here would never guess I'm Chinese.
You're not Chinese, right?
I'm not Chinese. But just, we're talking about appearance alone. And so, and if I go into a community, sometimes people will be saying, China, China, Ching Chong, which, cultural appropriateness aside. It's such a different environment, right? So what do I take from that? I take from that my ability and any outsider's ability to see and understand is maybe as limited or as far from the truth of the matter as that perception of me. And so we have to respect. Bisola has been living for 21 years. Yeah. She's been living for 20 years. She's been accumulating knowledge and experience for 21 years. And that knowledge and experience is so different than my own. Thank goodness we actually have a language we can communicate in. But it took time for me to even be able to communicate with someone like Bisola. When I came to Nigeria, at first people say, Oyibo, again, white person, you talk like, people can't understand a thing that I say when I first get there. So the way you hear me talking now, that's not my US accent. It's the way that I talk if I want someone in Nigeria to understand me.
Okay, so I'm going to do the same with you. Can you speak in the way that you would normally speak outside of Lagos? So when you're in America?
It's hard for me to do.
Can you remember how Americans sound?
There's so many of you here.
I know.
So many of us here, sorry. My name's Megan Chapman. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm a lawyer. I went to American University.
Right. It's really interesting watching you struggle to re-find that bit. But the translator thing is vital. I also want to address, just in a few minutes left, power. Let's just go straight there. So there is the kind of cultural assimilation that I think you're talking about, the importance of language and expression and authenticity, being able to have those connections. But nevertheless, someone mentioned colonialism. There is a legacy of a power imbalance, and I wondered how you think about that and whether you're coming up against it.
Absolutely. Do you want me to answer, Bisola?
Well, let's, Bisola, do you see? And again, it's this is the uncomfortable bit about co-creation. You're in the middle of it. It's hard for you to speak. It's hard for you to say everything you might want to say about this process. But so I will help you out, Bisola, by asking you a direct question.
Okay.
So James and Megan, who are supporting your work, do you feel that they are more powerful than you and you have to refer to them in a certain way, call them a certain name, do what they say? Have there been any funny experiences around that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me go back to how we, Africans, as Nigeria, how we do our things. We believe in this of power of respect. Especially Yorubas. We believe in power of respect. Even though if you are 2 years older than me, you deserve to become ma, sir, as in, I have to give you your respect. And in terms of doing that, I don't see any big deal in it. I didn't see them as my boss, but I believe that that is my culture. That is why I've been brought up. And
so this is a respect for elders. You call them ma or sir, just
general,
as a respect. That's cultural.
General.
Right.
Not to a special person, like this person is special, no. It's just for it general. But the kind of difficulties, as let me use wahala, that is Lagos slang, wahala.
Trouble.
Like trouble, which I feel that is somehow a little bit so discomfort with, is whenever we are trying to work together with James and Megan. James do forbid us that we should stop calling him sir or mister. He make me to understand that calling him sir, that makes us to look slave I remain.
Whoa, let's just stop there. So he says that, so he doesn't want you to call him sir.
Yeah.
And calling him sir, he says sir stands for slave I remain.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But to me, I didn't say any big deal in it. I didn't even feel it. And I keep on saying, sir, Mr. Mr. James, sir. So we're like, immediately I say, sir, Mr. He will change his face. We're like, you have to bone.
Right.
And immediately I got the message. I was like, oh, this person is not happy about sir. So, but still yet, a few minutes later, I still have to say sir, because that is me.
That's your culture. Okay. Well, so that's a fantastic example, and it's complex. Yeah. So, Megan, from your side, how do you feel about what this represents, this form of address, sir or ma, or do you discourage it?
I think that, like I said, I've adapted into Lagos in a lot of ways. I've adapted to the culture around me. At the same time as there's a lot of things I still continue to kick against or to, struggle with and feel that. And I try to distinguish between the things that are more important and less important. And language is important, but what I try to do on this kind of issue is understand what a person's intention is. And if the intention is one I agree with, I don't worry too much about the form. So when people call me ma, I understand they're showing me respect. And I generally, it's not something I'm going to take time to just say, please, 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 Megan. But if they call me Megan, that's also fine, and that's my preference. I'll give another just example of that. I'm not a religious person myself, but in Lagos, no matter the religion, and everyone is very religious, let's say 99% of people are very religious, people just say God bless you to all the time. God bless you, God bless your family, and so on. And at first I would never say it, and so it's a bit awkward. Someone says God bless you, and you say, thank you. And then there's silence, because what do you say? And I've taken to just saying God bless you in response, because what someone intends by that, I'm happy to reciprocate it. So in a way, I think that, you know, when you live and work together with people, there's adaptation in all directions. But for the more important and kind of underlying issues of power, there's a lot that we do on a daily basis to try to kind of change dynamics. So I'll give a different example where I actually have hammered on an issue.
Great.
The media team, they'll work in one room and they'll be editing or working on a project, and they have this practice of picking up the laptop with the hard drive inside, you know, still attached, carrying it into my office to show me something, and don't walk around with the laptop open with the hard drive attached, it's going to break, you're going to trip, this kind of thing, right? And finally someone said to me, well, after bringing it in, and I said, please, I told you before, let's not do this, because of the equipment and so on. He now said, but you know, in our culture, you're our boss. I said, I'm not your boss. He said, but in your position, I said, same thing. You can't, it's not right for me to come and call you to come and look. And I said, please, to preserve the equipment, and because I'm not your Oga, your boss, come and call me. I'm asking you, please, will you come and call me and tell me to come and look at it where you're working? So which ones are important, which ones are not important?
Yeah, and there are much bigger, problematic, more uncomfortable issues around co-creation, but they start here with culture and with the language and with human interaction. And so thank you so much for talking to us. We're going to get you back shortly as well. I'm just watching the clock tick down. So thank you for this section. We'll see you in a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you.